Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final session, or the afternoon session on the final day of Diggers 2020. There's a couple of quick announcements to make regarding some prizes that were just drawn. The winner of the BASF television, which I believe is the juice stand out the front, is Peter Burge. If you could please contact Brett Breswick on 0417 729 013 to arrange collection. And the winner of the Minarch Garmin watch is Matthew Greentree. Well done, mate. Your prize can be collected from the refuge chamber out the front. My name's Tim McCormack. I'm a mining analyst with Canaccord and have the privilege of presenting what I think is going to be one of the more fun segments with some of the names lined up this afternoon. Our first presentation is from Resolute. Mr. John Welborn is the Managing Director and CEO. He's a former successful investment banker and international rugby player and has a well-defined ambition for Resolute to become a leading global gold mining company. He's a champion of responsible and sustainable mining development and was recently named in Mine MX as one of the 100 most influential people in Africa's mining industry. Thank you, John.
Thanks very much, Tim. And thank you very much to Jim Walker, Chairman of the Forum and the committee, for giving Resolute the opportunity to be back here at Diggers and Dealers in what is an exceptional year. And it's always a great privilege to present in such a, what is no doubt the premium forum. So welcome to those who've joined us in the auditorium, and particularly welcome to those who are accessing the online streaming service. I'm joined here in Kalgoorlie by Stuart Gale, Resolute's Chief Financial Officer, and also James Champion de Crepney, Resolute's new General Manager of Business Development, two key members of our executive team who've also got some history out here in Kalgoorlie in other regards, as well as Peter Sullivan, Non-Executive Director of Resolute and former Chief Executive Officer. I took over from Peter 5 years ago and have presented Diggers at every year, and also joined by Sabina Shug, a Non-Executive Director who will be well known to people here in Kalgoorlie. And talking of potential award winners tonight, well done to the guys who've won awards that Tim's announced, and good luck to the companies who are in the run and the people who are in the running for awards tonight. This is not a year that Resolute will win an award, and I'm always cognizant of our history here. We actually won the Diggers Award in the early years of Diggers and Dealers, and Resolute has a very proud history of discovering and building gold mines in the Western Australian goldfields. And earlier in this conference we heard from our Premier, who encouraged everyone to bet big on WA, and I'm a huge believer as a proud Western Australian that he's got it on the money. But Resolute, we're betting big on Africa, and if you've come in or you've dialed in to listen to this presentation, hopefully that's what you're interested in. This presentation is obviously available on our platform as well as the ASX, and later today on the London Stock Exchange, where we're also listed. There's been a big change in our presentation and the screen you're looking at for all the other presentations I've done at this forum. We've had a map of the world with our Australian asset, the Ravenswood Gold Mine in North Queensland, and then displayed our African assets. And earlier this year we successfully sold the Ravenswood Gold Mine to a consortium led by EMR Capital for up to 300 million Australian dollars. We banked $50 million of cash, Australian dollars. And so we have $250 million still riding on the success of that project. $50 million is a promissory note yielding 6%, and the remaining $200 million is upsides on the development pathway that Resolute defined for that asset. And we're very much encouraged by the progress that the EMR team are making in a major expansion of the Ravenswood Goldfield. It was a great asset for Resolute for more than 10 years. We were very successful there with an owner-operated sub-level cave, which was the precursor to our focus on the CIMA mine in Mali. And as this conference celebrates the Australian gold miners, I just wanted to point out that Resolute still has an ongoing upside exposure to Australia, but our focus and my presentation today will be on our Australian assets. You can see here we're focused on a very exciting greenstone belt gold region in West Africa, the Mako gold mine in Senegal, a new addition to our portfolio, a fantastic cash generative mine, the CIMA gold mine in the south of Mali, a major asset Some would define it as tier one, more than 10 million ounces of gold there. It was originally discovered and built by BHP. It was owned by Randgold. As I've often said, what would those two companies know about gold mining? We can't teach them. And we're investing a lot of capital behind us now, and it's the delivery time for CIMA. We also own the Bibiani gold mine in Ghana. This is 2.5 million ounces underground at 3.6 grams per tonne, sitting immediately under a 3 million tonne per annum mill, refurbished and built by AngloGold Ashanti a couple of generation owners ago. We're currently doing a strategic review of that project. I'm very confident that during the current quarter, we'll be able to demonstrate more value than the market's currently giving it for us. The other key number I wanted to discuss on this slide is 400,000 ounces per year of production. Our current guidance is between 400 and 430,000 ounces for the calendar year ending 31 December 2020. And that's from the mills that we own and control at Mako and at CIMA. Where we've got, as you can see here, 4.7 million ounces of reserves. So we've got very long mine life potential and very strong current production. Unlike, as I said, we're not winning awards this year. We've underperformed many of the stampeding and very successful gold miners. Management team are 100% focused on driving a management performance-related re-rate. And if you're watching Resolute, that's what you should be looking for. First up, I'm going to talk about Mako in Senegal. It's in a really exciting part of eastern Senegal. It's the second modern gold mine built in that part of the world after the Teranga-owned Sabodala mine, which is about 60 kilometres away, and sitting between us is the big Massawa project that Teranga have picked up off Barrick. And this is on the western side of the Mali gold mine trend, which hosts a number of major African gold mines. We acquired this mine in the middle of 2019. It was very successfully developed by Toro Gold, a private company. One of the very many success stories that Mark Connolly and his team, led by Martin Horgan, have had in building fantastic gold mines in Africa. And we're very proud to not only have acquired it very successfully, but also to have improved it under our ownership. This is a view of what is a very simple pit on the side of a hill. This is looking northwest. If you've got very good eyesight in the distance, you'll be able to see a very neat mill. We've recently announced a mine life extension here representing an extra 200,000 ounces, which brings up that ore reserve and ore resources that you see. For the geologists here, this is your one slide in my presentation. We've changed up the colours a little bit, greens instead of the usual pastel. Here's a long section. This is looking southwest through the ore body. And you can see that the yellow line there represents the current pit that you just saw in photograph. And so we've mined some really nice grades in the top sections of this ore body, and that's why we produced 160,000 ounces last year from this asset for the full year, of which 6 months was under our ownership. And we're on track again to produce 160,000 ounces or more during 2020. We spent a lot of time, we did a little bit of exploration, but we also have looked very strongly at how we can reschedule the mine plan as we get down into those more consistent grades at depth. And we're really pleased to have, as you can see, had some really exciting results demonstrating that we do believe we've added some potential mine life and there's more to go here. As you can remember from the photograph, it is an open pit on the side of a hill, so a lot of the areas you'd like the ore body to be open are actually free air. But as you can see here, back into the hill, we do think there's some opportunities for further extensions on the mine that we've bought. And that is our immediate focus as we then turn our eyes to the significant land package, completely unexplored. Toro Gold, as I mentioned, was a privately funded vehicle, and there hasn't been a lot of exploration on what we believe will add future value in a very prolific area, as the conference has been told many times over the last couple of days. If you don't drill, you don't find, and if you don't find, you don't mine. And it's a quote that we're taking up with our focus on Mako in Senegal. Here's the key slide from the mine life update I mentioned. The black bars represent the mine plan that we inherited from Toro Gold, and the gold bars are our new updated life of mine plan, and that represents, as you can see, looking forward, as we move that grade down from the current 2.5 closer to 2 over the rest of the mine plan. We will see average production of about 140,000 ounces of gold a year at an all-in sustaining cost of $900 an ounce, up from the $750 an ounce we've enjoyed in the first couple of years with those higher grades. So we've got 900,000 ounces odd in front of us in the existing mine plan, and that's 5.5 to 6 years from here. And very strong cash flow generation. This is an asset that's performed month on month, quarter on quarter, exactly as we expected or slightly better. And that's the sort of gold mine we want to run in Africa. Now our big baby, CIMA, a huge asset, as I mentioned. 4 million ounces or more have been produced from this mine. We've got 8 million ounces of resources. You're looking at a portion of the large CIMA open pit that was mined by BHP, Randgold and ourselves. You can see the mill infrastructure in the middle of this photograph and the significant tailings dam that's beyond it. It's probably 1 million ounces in that tailings dam. We haven't started to think about that yet. We have 2 mills here. We have a 1.5 million tonne per annum oxide mill, where we've been very successfully mining and milling satellite near-surface oxide mineralisation of 2 to 3 grams. And then we have the newly commissioned and built CIMA underground mine, and in the foreground you can see the twin portals into the twin decline sub-level cave that we've built and now is at full operating capacity. It's got some fantastic technology in it. And that underground mine feeds the 2.4 million tonne per annum sulphide mill that processes the double refractory ore that we're mining in a very efficient bulk mine sub-level cave. And our key focus at CIMA and a key driver of re-rate and value will be our work to sustain recoveries through that mill at above 80%. This is a recent slide from our quarterly performance charting the improved performance of CIMA. There's more improvement to come. Our key focus in the June quarter was to get recoveries at or above 80%, and we're now focusing on sustaining those higher recoveries and building towards an ultimate target of 85%. We're also, as I mentioned, now consistently running the sub-level cave and the underground mine, the ore blanket, the expected dilution and the grade we're seeing from the underground stoping activity is exactly as the mine plan expected, and we're enjoying having world-leading technology enabled to manage that mine in real time. A couple of exciting things we're working on at CIMA that will be part of an improving cost picture going forward. One of those is the CIMA Power Project. This is a recent photograph demonstrating recovery. Anyone who's enjoyed a coffee here at the conference can thank Agreco. They're our key partners on this project. They're funding the construction of a very modern hybrid solar battery power plant at CIMA. For 30 years, this mine, as many mines in these remote areas here and all over the world, have been powered by diesel generators, and we currently have 30 megawatts of diesel-fired power, exposing us to a logistics challenge as well as a price exposure to oil. And we're reducing both the environmental footprint of our power generation, the logistics and cost footprint of our power generation as we become more sustainable. This project's on track. A huge thank you and congratulations to John Wheeler, our General Manager of Projects, and his team during COVID for keeping that project running. And that'll be commissioned by the end of the year, and those cost savings will be immediately apparent in 2021. This morning we published an update on our exploration and feasibility study work on the Tabacaroni underground project. Tabacaroni is 30 kilometres to the south of the main CIMA processing complex and open pit. It's been a very successful satellite ore body over the last couple of years. We've mined around 300,000 ounces of surface oxides at Tabacaroni. And unlike a lot of our other satellite ore bodies, we've actually looked underneath the oxides and we've been delineating 2 very exciting high-grade sulphate ore shoots. We had an initial resource here of 5 grams, and we've updated that today to 1 million ounces at 4.4 grams, and this is at a very early stage. We also published in today's announcement some very exciting hits that are outside of that recent mineral resource estimate and therefore yet to be included in the pre-feasibility study results we announced. The study results show that on the initial mineral resource that we've defined, we've got a 4-year mine life. And the mine is going to produce around 80,000 ounces at just under $1,000 an ounce. Exploration will grow that in mining inventory. Our ambition is to define a mine that can produce 80,000 ounces a year for a 10-year mine life, and we'll obviously look at ways we can bring that cost down and the capital exposure of that mine. It represents a key piece of the CIMA life of mine we've indicated we're going to publish during the current quarter. And a lot of value in Resolute, and a lot of the driver of the re-rate that we're working on will come out of not only defining the future for CIMA, but delivering it. We've delivered the sub-level cave. We need to deliver consistent recoveries from our sulphide mill. That project, as I mentioned, 2.4 million tonne per annum at around 2.6 to 2.8 grams, at above 80% recoveries, should produce 160 to 180,000 ounces a year, or a minimum of, in the range of 35 to 45,000 ounces a quarter. That's what we did in June at the bottom end, and we're looking to do better as we head into the current quarters. The oxide processing plant, looking forward, we're looking to produce around 80,000 ounces a year. We've got at least 3 years of processing in front of us, and we're working on exploration to extend that, which allows us more time to look at how that portion of the CIMA production, 80-odd thousand ounces, will transition once those satellite oxides are depleted into a longer-term underground mine at Tabacaroni. Those are the pieces of the CIMA puzzle that are going to come together in a life of mine update, and the focus of that is obviously to show cost consistency at CIMA, maintain our production from our mills at CIMA of 250,000 odd ounces for a very long time in the future, and then we can work on getting the mine valued appropriately. A theme of the conference is obviously COVID. Congratulations again to the organisers for putting on this conference, and congratulations to all of the companies who've presented and the way in which they've managed the challenges that the pandemic has posed to companies operating in the mining sector, or conferences, or banks, or anyone who's here. Obviously, as a WA-based, African-focused gold miner, the focus and challenges of the pandemic have been extreme, and I wanted to congratulate and thank particularly all of our site-based personnel. We have General Manager John Gaunt at CIMA, who's been on site now for 7 months. His commitment to delivering CIMA and continuing to run that operation for what has been in a very extended roster is a huge, huge commitment from him personally, and very important to our company. And there are many others across our group, including our corporate team, who've worked very hard to support our site-based people with protocols, making sure we're keeping them safe and keeping our mills running. I won't go through all of the challenges we've faced, but we've had people in our office who've had to turn into travel bookers and understand the global air industry. We leased 2 737 aircraft off Ethiopian Airlines and ran our own charter flights between Addis Ababa and Dakar and Addis Ababa and Bamako as part of our commitment to make sure that our people could get in and out of our mine sites. And I'm enormously proud that COVID has not interrupted our operations. And at this stage, we remain confident that we're managing the challenges of COVID appropriately. And as well as thanking our workers across the company, I also thank the Australian governments, both state and federal, for the leadership they've shown in managing COVID. We've replicated a lot of border controls and other protocols within our business in terms of managing the risk and making sure that the number one priority we have is to keep our people safe, and that allows us to keep our mills running. That's a commitment to sustainability. Earlier this year, the Resolute executive team was joined by Jordan Morrissey, joined us from CIRA. He's our General Manager of Sustainability, and he has been part of, along with David Kelly, our Chief Operating Officer, and all of the senior executives at Resolute. Our COVID response is very much consistent with our focus on sustainability. Given the extra long rosters, the logistics challenges and other factors relating to the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm particularly proud of our ability to, while facing those challenges, to continue to bring down our safety stack record in terms of recordable injury frequency rates, and that's something we'll continue to focus on. COVID has reminded us that we're on the right track in relation to our nationalisation and training focus. A theme of this conference, as well as Tier 1 jurisdictions and successful cash generative mines, has been diversity in all its forms, and particularly gender diversity. For Resolute, our key diversity index is really expats and locals. And so as much as it's important that we focus on CEOs who, I was pleased that in fact usually it's CEOs called John who get singled out as being more numerous than females, but now it's Peter and David, your fault. Our focus at Resolute is as much around Peter, David's, John's and Elizabeth's as much as it is around Usman and Adama and Miriam and Habby, and making sure that we don't just rely on the fact that we can say 90% of our workers are locals when almost all of those people are at the lower end of our work chain. And what we're very much focused on is lifting the level of training and expertise and having local managers run our mines. And that's important from a social licence to operate. It's important to be consistent with our commitment to sustainability, and it makes so much sense in a COVID environment, and we're increasing our focus on that across our business. It's a value driver. We listed on the London Stock Exchange last year. It's one of a number of strategic steps that in the background of this company have actually been successfully achieved. Obviously our focus in London was to build a presence there. We inherited when we bought Toro Gold an office on Piccadilly. The door of that office hasn't been opened in 6 months, and so our ability to leverage our London listing has been somewhat curtailed. One area that is very important though is the visibility our London listing has placed on our commitment to sustainability. And we've seen in this state recently the congruence between the responsibility miners have to take for their sustainability agenda across all areas and the responsibility that investors can take and should take. And I'm really pleased that through our London listing we've got greater visibility on our sustainability agenda, and it's no longer good enough to show a photograph of me handing out school books to some happy African kids, and that we will for the first time be publishing a sustainability report this year demonstrating and making ourselves responsible and accountable for key sustainability outcomes, and that's something to watch from Resolute. That's consistent with our commitment to the World Gold Council's responsible gold mining principles. They form a basis of our framework for sustainability and the reporting that we'll do on our sustainability report. Resolute is a member of the World Gold Council. I'm a director. I noticed that it's actually these principles and other areas of the World Gold Council has been mentioned in presentations by some of the local gold producers. I would encourage them not only to mention the World Gold Council, but to consider membership. It's a great organisation. It supports the gold mining industry. And it's a fantastic forum of gold companies, and it could do with greater Australian representation. Thank you very much for coming along to listen to the Resolute story. We're very much focused on a re-rate, as I said. The last theme that I'll pick up from coming out here, and I always find it inspirational to interact with peers. I'm looking forward to the presentations in this session and the remaining ones this afternoon, particularly Carl from Sandvire, another Western Australian company looking for the opportunities that are in Africa. The theme I was going to mention as well is that we are primarily a business first, as well as our focus on sustainability, and that's the outcomes we're looking to deliver. If you want to have a very high-level summary of Resolute, currently we're aiming to process around 6 million tonnes of material a year across 3 mills at a grade of about 2.5 grams, and we're looking to get an average of a high 80s recoveries from that material, and that, if you do the maths, will see us produce 400,000 ounces We're looking to add to our Mako life of mine update with a CIMA life of mine update, which will give a clear guideline on that 400-odd thousand ounces of production across those 3 mills. We believe that our current costs are around $1,000 an ounce. World Gold Council and all-in sustaining cost metric has the ability to come down. However, regardless, we produce a lot of gold at a big margin. We need to demonstrate it. We've got 8 million ounces of gold production behind us across 10 mines. We're looking to build that, and we're very much interested in having your support. Thank you.
Thanks very much, John. We've come up just on time, so I think we'll move on to the next one.